Welcome, Panther Nation football fans, to another edition of Growlin' and Prowlin'. I am, of course, Mr. CeeLo here, talking all things Carolina Panthers, from the postseason to the Super Bowl to the offseason, from the draft to OTAs to the preseason to the shenanigans of the week-to-week regular season. Let the growling begin. Welcome back, you guys. Thank you for joining us. Hope you guys had an awesome Christmas with your family and friends. And now it's back to the regular shenanigans of regular life. And to start, I want to start on a positive note, you guys. I just want to say I'm happy with what I saw Sunday. Only thing I was not happy with, you guys, in our 33-30 defeat at the hands of the Green Bay Packers, was we just didn't win. And I know what people are going to say, well, how do you improve on that? Well, first thing, Pinheiro, bro, you got to stop missing extra points, bro. I mean, I know he's been pretty darn good all year, but that one was huge. And the reason why it's huge, you guys, is because this will be another chance that the Panthers would have had we gotten that ball clocked. We're going for the win, not the tie, guys. But we fell to the Packers on Sunday. And guys, there were so many good things to look at in this game. Many of you guys know, if you've been watching me over the last couple of weeks, you guys realize I have been saying that we needed to seriously consider throwing the ball up to DJ Chark. And finally, and this is what I always tell people, a receiver can't be judged based upon his ability when the quarterback is not giving him the opportunity. Too many times, this is what I tell so many analysts. They're saying guys that are not getting separation. DJ Chark's a guy that doesn't get you separation on stop and goes or slants. He gets you separation in a straight line. And Bryce has yet to hit him on a straight line straight away. So what you have to do is you have to give him a chance. Anything that is downfield and he's one-on-one, you have to give him a chance. Not going to go into the monologue, but I just had to point him out. And even Tommy Tremble. Thomas Brown is doing a great job. You're starting to see him get comfortable with certain things. And it's almost like, not putting this on Frank Reich, but it almost seems like he's getting comfortable with the players. And I will tell you something later on in the show, guys, that I think should happen. A lot of you may not agree with me, but like I said, there's some grumblings out there about who's going to be the next head coach. And you may not agree with what I'm about to say, but you may not agree with what I'm going to say later on, but we'll get into it. Let's look at the breakdown of this game as it relates to not only the outcome, you guys, but also what is not necessarily important, but what the numbers look like. Because you guys, I mean, Young had his first 300-yard game. Very, very good one. I saw something that I was happy with, and that's his mobility. Bryce is going to probably have to accept the fact, and I think this coaching staff has found something as well, is that Bryce is going to not be of a particular pocket-style passer. He's not going to be a scrambler, but I'm looking at so much of the things that he's done. He scrambled 4 times for 17 yards, but the thing about that was he extended plays, and he was looking for things to happen. And I think what's starting to happen is you're starting to see more and more receivers become comfortable to the point that you're seeing, guys, is amazing when you start saying things need to happen, and it does start to materialize. Tremble's getting more targets. I said he needed to get more targets. Chark needed to get more targets. Even Smith-Marsette, I said, needed to touch the ball. And these things are starting to happen. Even though Mingo we got to get Mingo the ball. Thomas Brown, we got to find ways to get Mingo the football. Creative ways. This is not just a basic offense where you're saying, okay, Bryce Young's the point guard. There are times when you got to make this guy the primary guy and draw the play up as such. And I'm not talking about screens. I'm talking about crossers. To shallow crossers, if you will. At the end of the day, you ask DJ Chark, does he have the gas to go down the field all the time? Same thing with Mingo. Mingo's a big physical wide receiver. Excuse me. And Miss Smith-Marsette has wheel and speed to burn. This is the reason why we took him away from the Chiefs in preseason. That's probably the Chiefs are kicking themselves right now that they did not hang on to him. Another guy who's getting a lot of targets because he's a big physical presence out there, and that is Steven Sullivan. I love the targets that he's getting. He had one big one down the field, but as I said, I was not happy with that one. Bryce has got to get that accuracy down. I mean, brother, you got to get that thing down. Then, of course, there's the physical Jonathan Mingo, who's got speed and physicality. These are two guys that can be your deep threats. I don't care what anybody says. These are two guys that can be your deep threats. And see, this is where me as a spectator, but as a guy who has been a coach, not a pro or collegiate or high school coach, but you want to get your best players the ball in certain positions or give your best athletes the opportunity. And with wide receivers, you want to give them the opportunity. Give them the opportunity. And see, the only thing I'm not happy with is that we still have not utilized Terrace Marshall. I know what people are saying. He's pretty much in the doghouse. He's pretty much done. I'm not happy with that. I think Matt Strachan should be getting opportunities. 6'5", 225. And the thing is, he's a big guy. He had that one big catch against the Bears. This is a guy you got to start taking shots to. Bryce Young is a distributor. You have to put guys. You have to take shots. You're 2-13. You have to let Bryce know, look, dude, if he's one-on-one or he's got a safety on him, go. Chark, go. Mingo, go. Even Stephon Sullivan. This guy's got some wheels for a tight end. And you saw Tommy Tremble. He got one and took off with it. A lot of these guys Bryce is not getting them the ball. Now all of a sudden he's getting them the ball, and people are you're starting to see reporters talk differently about this receiving core. A lot of this was because of Frank Wright or Thomas Brown being restricted by Frank Wright, or Bryce Young being restricted. Period. They weren't throwing it to him, saying, "Okay, they're covered. Uncover them." I mean, I don't know. Remember, I think it was Aaron Rodgers. You say that even you uncover them. Drew Brees would do the same thing. Uncover his guys. Even Tom Brady would do it. As a quarterback, it's your job that you uncover them. Have that daggum report with them. Make sure they know, you know. This is what's starting to happen. And I'm going to go out on the limb and say something. Panther fans, while all of y'all are sitting here talking about we need another receiver, we need a number one. We didn't have him this week. And here's the thing. I want you guys to look at this. I want you guys to look long and hard at this. And Strachan needs to be on the roster next season, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and tell you all. Here's the thing. You had Tommy Tremble, 4 for 59. He had 6 targets. Thielen, 6 for 94. 8 targets. DJ Chark, 6 for 98. 8 targets. This ain't something that just happened. I mean, you're looking at 23 of 36. Damn near the best performance completion percentage all year, you guys. And he had 312 yards. These weren't short completions, you guys. And a lot of people say, well, he got 44 of it on 2 pass plays. True. Both of them were really good plays. Really good throws. And great routes. But here's what I have to look at. I look at how diverse the offense was. We had 25 runs and 36 throws. 38, excuse me. That is where we need to be. Green Bay did a great job against the run game. They did. They did a really good job. And Smith-Marset had 2 carries for 33 yards, and I think we need to utilize him, including a touchdown. I think Thomas Brown is really starting to do a great job in doing what this offense needs to do, which is different guys. Ladies and gentlemen, get out of this mindset we have to have a number one. In other teams' minds, we do have a number one, and that's Adam Thielen. This week, DJ Chark brought his A game, and Bryce Young allowed DJ Chark to be great. He allowed Tommy Tremble to be great. Now he needs to allow Mingo to be great. Strachan needs to get his opportunity. Terrace Marshall is a 6'3" wide receiver. These guys need to get their feet wet. There's still a chance now. 2 games left. There's no excuse. Thomas Brown, figure out what to do with Terrace Marshall. You can't have elite wide receivers if you don't have a quarterback throwing them the football. That's what needs to happen here. Bryce Young looks like he's starting to get his feet wet, and I'm going to say something, you guys, that you need to embrace. A lot of you are going to say, oh, well, we don't need to do that. Don't make the same mistake we made with Steve Wilkes last year, Dave Tepper. Tabor needs to stay here. We need to renegotiate with Thomas Brown and renegotiate with Coach Evero, because there are going to be people coming for him. This team is starting to find its footing. Bryce is starting to find his footing. The receivers don't need to go anywhere. And if Terrace Marshall doesn't want to be here, then that's fine. Strachan will be here. We need to keep the guys we have now because they're starting to build confidence. You don't need to fix it if it's growing. I know what a lot of people are going to say, wait. We won 2 games and we lost 1 and you're encouraged? I'm very much encouraged because this is the first game the offense, way back since the Seattle game, the offense looked like a competitive offense. But let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Where Frankie Louvu balled out, had 10 tackles and a sack, a great sack. I got to get that, guys. Derek Brown, once again, who's balling like a Pro Bowler. If he doesn't make the Pro Bowl this year, I don't know who's been watching. He's got to get paid, Scott. And that's another thing. Scott Fitter, if you want to keep your job, and this is just me, none of these guys need to go. There's a handful of guys that need to go. He definitely ain't one. Derek Brown's the one you got to keep. Von Bell had 7 tackles on the day. Xavier Woods 6 and had a tackle for a loss. Shai Tuttle had a pretty good game. 6 tackles this week. A lot better. Nick Thurman had 6. Troy Hill is always all over the field. But PFF graded him very bad in coverage and whatnot. But that generally happens when you're getting a guy who... you got a guy like J.C. Horn on the other side. Brian Burns only had 3 tackles. Eder Gross-Matos had 4 tackles. And J.C. Horn got a semi-stinger in the game, but he had 3 tackles. Camus Gruger-Hill, who started out strong, only had 3 tackles. And then there's Jeremy Chin, who, like I said, I'm just like, man. And my boy Mari Barno got hurt in that game. DJ Johnson had 2 tackles. Shaquille Griffin in his first game had registered a tackle. Marquise Haynes, who struggled with this back injury, had a tackle. But for the most part, defensively, we weren't all that great. I mean, we look at where Aaron Jones had 127 yards rushing, and they had a total of 162 as a team. That ain't going to win a game. But looking at it from this standpoint, we're in this game. And a lot of people will tell you, we were down pretty much 33-16. We were down in this game from the get-go. And the Packers really threw some haymakers at us to start with. And what was really painful is that the defense finally shut them out in the first most of the third quarter, and they were scoreless in that third quarter. But what's really gut-wrenching is when you watch this game from back to finish, and you notice that the Packers weren't really doing anything insanely, how do I say this? They weren't doing anything insanely exotic, but there again, you look at, we we scored in the third quarter and made this game 23-16. And what's really odd is I made a mistake, guys. They were up 23-10 at halftime. My mistake. And this game looked like it was going to get ugly. And as I said, the Panthers defense did their job and stood pat. And the Packers did score a touchdown to start the third quarter. They did. And that made it 30-16. So you're talking about once it got to be 30-22, after a beautiful throw from Bryce Young and DJ Chark made a wonderful grab, you're looking at a team that defensively, when I say they knuckled down, absolutely. For a team that's been defensively strong all season and no signs of offensive life, I mean, because you look at it, they were up 23-10 at the half. Carolina never led in this game. Our boys never led in this game. And you look at it, the Packers had no reason to think that we were going to have any life. And for the defense to say, hey, look, we're not doing our job. We gave up 30 points in this game. And this is the thing that we have to be exceptionally happy about. We did not have any turnovers. We didn't have any turnovers. And Bryce did not throw a single interception, you guys. And see, this is what we have to look at and try to work on. We have to work on this thing. And that's the thing. We're one of the lowest teams in committed turnovers, and we're one of the least we're one of the few teams that don't get a lot of turnovers. When most of the time, the way that looks, if you're a team that turns the ball over and you don't get a lot of turnovers, that doesn't bode well. Does not bode well. But as I said, I love Troy Hill. You know, I don't care what the PFF said about him playing badly. Guys, we need to keep him. He's one of the best tacklers on the perimeter. I love his tackling in space. He tackles better than some of our linebackers. But let's look at the PFF grades. DJ Chark led the way at 82.9. Yet again, Bryce Young with another great performance at 82. Of course, Adam Thielen's right there. Emir Smith-Marset, 79.4. Tommy Tremble, 79.6. And I'm going to tell you something. If Bryce can get through this mentality, every throw has to be perfect. Now, they just need to be out in front. That's the other problem we're having. Bryce is missing his guys behind. But he has to realize he's got two big weapons out there that he has to utilize. And I'm not talking about just Sullivan. Of course, there's DJ Chark, and he's got another big one that has not been utilized down the field. That would be Jonathan Mingo. And like I said, Strachan. This is a guy that needs to get playing time, Thomas Brown. He's 6'5". When DJ Chark's not on the field, Strachan needs to be in the game. And Bryce needs to know that's your first read. You look in here to get that safety in the middle of the field, and you take your shot, 6'5". Take your shot. We're 2-13. The only thing we can do is build continuity for next season. Smith needs to get the ball. Smith-Marset needs to get the ball down the field. He's got blazing speed. Or if we don't do anything, run little crossers, shallow crossers. Let's see, worst of the offense. Miles Sanders, 54.1. Ian Thomas, 49.6. Bradley Bozeman, again, 48.8. Cade Mays, 43.4. Again, Nash Jensen, who only played a handful of snaps. And as I said, the guard position has been a disaster this year. Not only because of the injuries, but they just haven't been good. And I think the Carolina Panthers need to go back in the draft next season or even free agency, because we can't afford this. We know Christensen's going to come back and be solid. Ike Ekwonu, still not living up to first round expectations. I mean, he wasn't the worst this week, but he's still not living up to expectations. The weakest what's funny to me is the weakest section on this team, according to everybody coming into the league, was the wide receiver core. And 4 of the 5 positions were dominated by wide receivers or tight ends. Can't happen when it's the worst crew. But it goes to this. It remains to this. The quarterback is what makes the wide receivers in every position, whether it's T. Higgins and Jamar Chase or Jalen Waddle and the Cheetah. Same thing with this crew. It all revolves around Bryce Young. So Bryce Young, you got to keep doing your thing. You got to keep throwing it to these guys. Guys like DJ Chark, Strachan, and even Terrace Marshall. These guys are big physical wide receivers. Jonathan Mingo. These guys are physical guys. The guys that are supposed to get open are going to get open because these big guys are scaring safeties and corners down the field, and they're going to leave guys like you open. DJ Chark is a down the field, big type receiver, throwing the ball. All right, the best of the defense, of course, Derek Brown right there at the 90. Nick Thurman, great game, 84-9. Frankie Louvu, 83-5. Shy Tuttle, 75. Shaquille Griffith, 67-9. And, I can't say enough for Derek Brown. I mean, this guy has quietly been I don't want to say MVP, but a Defensive Player of the Year type candidate. And if he were on I guess you could say playoff contender, we wouldn't even be having this discussion. He would be knocking it down. He's Aaron Donald his way into this. Now people are going to say, oh, Aaron Donald gets sacks. Well, that's true, but nobody can block this guy. When he wants to get in the backfield, ain't nobody blocking him. He moves piles. I'm talking about he is that dude. Derek Brown, stay, bro. Scott Fitter, you better get it done. As well as Frankie Louvu. That's a guy we're going to have to get paid. This is where I'm like, BB, Spider-Man, you got to realize we got two guys that we got to pay. And you're going to have to come off that $27 million. I mean, I get it. You're that dude, but there's plays that you didn't make. You missed on a reverse out there, bro. Listen, I love Brian Burns all over the place, man. You know what I'm saying? This is my boy. The way they move him around, I love him because he's so versatile. But you got to have your boy, Frankie Lou, and you got to have Derek Brown. You my boy, but you got to respect the fact that they got to get paid. And I don't like the worst of the defense because E.O. Gross Models had some great plays in the run game. Deshaun Williams, he did okay. Jeremy Chin is just, to me, he's just getting battered by these PFF grades, in my opinion. And I mean, he's getting put in some of the worst positions in this Coach Avero defense, and I think it's going to cost Coach Avero. Because at the end of the day, Jeremy Chin is a Swiss Army knife, and you are not utilizing him correctly. You're utilizing him more in a coverage situation instead of where he's at his best, up along the line of scrimmage on run plays. Troy Hill, very great, good tackler. He had a 37-9 for this week. A lot of that was because of those catches he gave up. Gave up 6 receptions for 98 yards and 2 scores on 6 targets. But anyway, I'm not going to give him that of an issue. Camille Gruger-Hill was a guy that was a superstar in camp, and he had a 37. It's not been a great campaign for him in the regular season, but that's remained to be seen. We still got 2 games left. But closing this out, you guys, I'm happy. I can honestly say this wasn't a game I looked at it and said, oh my goodness, another loss. I looked at it more along the lines of there's light at the end of the tunnel. And I know a lot of people are going to say, with 2 games left and we lost? Bryce Young is figuring it out. Every throw you make in the National Football League is not going to be a perfect one. Every route that you throw is not going to be perfect. There's a lot of plays where you said, okay, throw it now, and you should have threw it a split second earlier. You can't second guess. And then sometimes you just got to let that thing fly. You have to let that thing fly, Bryce. And you're doing that. Thank you. Whether it's Thomas Brown or Coach Tabor, whoever it is, telling him let that thing fly, especially if it's DJ Chark. Needs to be applied to Jonathan Mingo, Mike Strachan, Terrace Marshall, hint, hint, Stephen Sullivan, and even Tommy Tremble. You got that kind of faith in Thielen. Look, Thielen, he's a great player, but he ain't going up to get one, and he ain't going to outrun nobody. He's a crafty veteran that knows how to get open, but you can't do that stuff to him. He ain't going to outrun very many, and he damn sure ain't going to outjump one, but he is crafty enough to beat one. That's your safety valve. But guys, let me know what you think. Like I said, I'm happy about the result. I'm happy about the game, just not happy with the outcome of the game. But let me know what you think. Hit me up on the Facebook page. As always, put your comments and thoughts underneath the show. But as I said, Scott Fitterer needs to make those moves. And I think we need to keep what we have in the receiving corps. On the defense, the only thing we need to do is we need to get some guards that can back up Christensen and can back up Corbin. That is our worst thing. And if Equano can't get it together next year, guess what? His fifth-year option's coming up. We'll have to go elsewhere. We'll have to slide him over to the right tackle position. But Taylor Moton's got it. But Taylor Moton struggled a little bit Sunday. We'll let him off with that. But until the next time, you guys, keep prowling the airwaves and keep growling out. Keep pounding.